listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Kicking off the show here on Absolute Radio. That number again, 359-4011.
Right, that's not our number.
That's not our number, don't call that. That's just a number.
It's 8, 12, 15.
I feel sorry for 359-4011 now. That's going to be
don't say it again. You've said it again.
Well, you said it first.
No, if you want to text us on the Frank Skinner Show, as it's called, we're on 8, 12, 15, or you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. This morning I am with Emily Dean.
Well, she's all you'd ever want. She's the kind I'd like to flaunt and take to dinner.
Alan Cochrane, I'm with Alan Cochrane. And I am Frank Skinner.
He's the loneliest man in the world.
Anyway, here we all are together.
What a lovely intro. I enjoyed that immensely.
I enjoyed that almost as much as the first word on the show being beautiful, which is how you started today.
He may be dead, Bernard Matthews, but his catchphrase lives on. The way catchphrases often outlive their owners.
Indeed.
I don't think there's any may about it.
Yes, he may be dead. Well, I don't know. I have him in the Elvis category. He's been seen at a few places. Bernard Matthews.
He's a question mark.
Oh, can I just say, I invited Frank to a screening of an Elvis film, lovely film coming up, Elvis, When Elvis Met Nixon, CC'd your PA, sent it to you, nothing. Didn't hear a word. I said, would you like to go and see this?
I
Nothing.
I thought it was a text to, an email to my girlfriend.
No.
Oh, well,
No.
definitely the best place to air this is on the radio. Definitely,
I think
guys.
so.
Definitely.
It is, though.
That's stinging.
I'll take it up with your PA.
How dare you? Well, I'm sorry about that. I apologise formally in public.
Thank you.
Took the edge off.
I've got no admin problems to bring up.
Okay.
That I can think of.
Glad to hear that. I sent Daisy another frog picture.
Eh?
A frog update. You know my frog monster from last week?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's... Kath drained its pool.
Oh.
Did she?
With a syringe, or... Like, was this...
No,
not
she just put a hole through the bottom of it.
Right.
And now it's sort of more exposed. So I'll get someone to post that. Then if there's any more...
Yeah.
Whatever... What would be amphithologists?
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's such a word as that.
No.
But, If anyone else can tell us what this mysterious thing has happened, that'd be lovely. I went to a garden party. Come on. No. I went to I'm calling it an exhibition, although I believe it's
Lovely.
officially termed a display. The lady at the museum told me, 'cause it's not big enough for an exhibition, of Target book covers.
Oh, yeah.
Target books. Now, here's something. I know one of the things I'm always doing in my later life is saying, do they still blah, blah.
Yeah.
But Target books, what they brought out was a series of Doctor Who novelisations. So you'd watch...
Let me at them.
So you'd watch a story.
Please.
So you'd watch a story, and then, you could read at some point in the future the novelisation of it. And there used to be a lot of that about.
Yes.
Do people
I
still...
remember that, Frank, because I had it with Grease, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a novelisation of it. And I loved that.
But could I read Broadchurch, for example? Could I go into a bookshop and get the novelisation of Broadchurch?
Oh, yes. I'm sure you'd be able to now.
In the modern world, I think that the answer's yes to almost everything you
I
could say.
think they've died out.
I
I honestly think that there are no more novelisations. I can't remember seeing any about.
It's the end of times. The end of novelisation.
It is. If there's no novelisations, what's the point of carrying on? You know what I blame? I blame the Netflix and all that stuff. Because what you used to do, you used to miss an episode of Doctor Who and think, I'll have to read the novelisation, because there's no way of ever seeing it then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gone.
you could never catch it again.
I miss missing things.
Do you?
Midlife more.
Lucky you don't present a show about catch-up TV then, isn't it?
It is really. That'd be that's the worst thing I could do. Me and Kath used to we used
Okay,
to...
let's leave it there.
Yeah, but we don't anymore. Now, we used to read to each other quite a lot.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that, Al?
No. I mean, I read to my children, but...
I remember you told us that you'd read the Dan Brown
Yeah.
to each other.
That's it. I like it's called the Dan Brown.
I momentarily forgot what it was called.
The Da Vinci Code, yes. Yeah, I don't want anyone to think we read another Dan Brown other than his best work. Yeah, we did that a lot. I remember once, I was a real sulk. We'd had an argument about something, and afterwards we read to each other, and I was so sulky and upset, I deliberately didn't listen to her reading. I just let her read into the ether, which I thought was fair. But that brought me to... Have I ever told you about my Grapes of Wrath dilemma?
Oh, not on air.
I thought you got them seen to.
Somebody said to me, that's why I'm on this cushion.
I knew you'd have respect for that.
Somebody said to me, have you read The Grapes of Wrath? Okay, which is a straightforward question.
Of course.
And I hadn't, but I had listened to the audiobook. And I said, yes.
Oh.
Because it had been read to me. And, God, it so nagged at me.
Interesting moral poser.
Yeah, I mean, I still think about it now. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I should have qualified it. I was trying to save time. But, don't save time and lose morality. That's my tip for the morning.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I think we've heard from the outside world, haven't we?
We have. It's about Target books.
Oh, yes.
In 2016.
Well, they are. Some of them have been reissued recently, so...
Well, Duncan Steele says, I still have all of my Target books. As a child, I could spot a Target logo on a book spine in a shop at 100 yards.
I know what he means, but Duncan Steele surely should have had a series of books about his own adventures in fighting crime.
Just on the wrong side of the law, Duncan
I should say that this exhibition, by the way, I would recommend. It's at the Cartoon Museum, which is near the British Museum.
Oh.
And it's the original art from the covers.
Cartoon.
No, I didn't go all the way to Cartoon.
To book a flight.
Yeah, so it's the beautiful art from the covers.
Monica has also tweeted us to confirm.
I love that name. I've always loved that name. I've loved it because my dad had a sister called Monica, and he always used to say harmonica, as in harmonica. And as a child, I used to think, harmonica. And then he would knock me to the ground. We didn't know then, you see.
Monica with a K says Broadchurch novels do exist. There are also official short stories.
You are kidding me.
Yeah.
You are Catherine Kidson.
To each of the Series 2 episodes. Well, we know Series 2 is obviously the big one.
stories to each individual episode. Oh, that'll be an online thing.
Oh, what, like
No,
fan
I don't think
fiction?
so.
Fan fiction, that'll be.
I don't think it'll be fan fiction.
You don't think so?
She sounds like she's credible, this woman.
She sounds
Because of the K, you're thinking.
Yeah, I
you're
think
thinking East
Monica with a
European
K.
common sense.
Maybe I am.
Stereotyping at its very worst. Or best. Whatever you
We're in
think
a
of
liberal
it.
society now.
True.
So did I do a bad thing when I said I'd read The Grapes of Wrath?
No. I
mean-
think you had a read, in inverted commas.
But I don't know if I didn't say, yes, I have read.
I think, on the scale of things, it's still somewhat above when someone says, have you read a book and you've just seen the film?
Oh, yeah.
Because the audiobook, at least you've listened to what was written.
Oh, no, I definitely wouldn't have done that. Although in the past, I don't know why, but a regular lie of mine, someone
I
would
love
say...
this section of the show.
Someone would say, have you seen... And then it would be a film. And I'd say, yeah, I have, yeah,
Did you?
I have seen that. And I hadn't seen it at all, and I don't know why.
Why did you
that.
lie?
I don't know. And I saw a Canadian comic called Norm MacDonald who did a routine about exactly that. So it wasn't. It made me feel good that it wasn't just me. But yeah, I used to claim.
I think if the film's big enough, lie big, as we know, and I used to say I'd seen Ghostbusters. I'd never seen it. Still haven't.
Well, now I say
I haven't seen
no.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, come on, look at me.
Oh, but it's.
Am I going to see that?
It is good.
Yeah,
The window's passed, darling.
Oh, no, it's... well, just have a look at my picture of the frog. You've more or less seen the whole film.
Absolute
Absolute
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
had a text, Frank. I think I'm going to steer the show in a much different direction from any of us had anticipated.
Is it a death threat?
No, it's... I don't read those ones out, I just ignore them. Frog news, ! Hi, Frank and team. I was sat in the garden last night and found my dog crunching on something it found in the garden. It turned out to be an old, dead, dried-out frog. He loved it. Somehow need to get him more. Maybe your listeners can send them in. Just a thought.
You can probably buy them.
There's a lot of admin attached to that, and I'm not up for it. I don't know if you two are. Like, distribution of dried-out frogs for...
Well, it's the sort of thing I bet you might be able...
Heston.
You know those sort of herbal cure shops? That's the sort of thing you'd buy, powdered frog.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like the powdered frog, then you could do it in milk for him, like Nesquik.
Like a little brew.
Yeah. Frog-flavoured Nesquik. Never caught on.
Like a protein shake that somebody would have after the gym. Something like that. Yeah,
you know when you work with people now and they arrive with like a Tupperware container with something disgusting in it. Do you do that?
Yeah, I've got a Tupperware container with some protein.
I terminate those people's contracts immediately. I do. I can't bear it. Don't turn up.
I've not been eating enough. I've not been eating enough.
You've honestly got a Tupperware container?
Yeah.
Trying to turn himself into a killing machine. That's right.
I honestly thought this morning when you played Emily's jingle music that
I love my jingle, can I say? My jingle's immense.
Yeah, I thought I might get my cockerel sound again that's gone by the wayside.
Well, the whole idea is it's a new...
I like the new ones.
New Dawn?
Yeah, I've pressed update on those. I wonder if we could bring out a novelisation of this show every week then.
Oh, man, now you're talking.
I'd love that.
That's what it's called. Now you're talking.
Monica.
Cockerel looked anxious. Well, actually, he said, I arrived with a Tupperware container. There was an eerie silence.
Another one.
Then we're used to that.
Monica has been back in touch.
Monica with a K.
Becoming something of a friend of the show.
Good.
I don't trust audiobooks.
What?
She says with her customary Eastern European frankness.
Yes, I don't trust them.
What if they skip bits? You can never be sure.
No, but it says unabridged. They couldn't put unabridged if it was abridged.
She says
that wouldn't be worth there. That'd be the end of their business if they did that.
What about that time?
I'm with Monica on this.
2 years in a row I bought a diary that had days missing.
Well, that's because it was in the 99p store.
79 pence they were.
Really? Days missing?
They had days missing. They were great. I had the week off. I didn't put any gigs in, but that's not the point, is it?
It's odd, because in the 80s I had complete diaries. I had many, many days missing in my actual life. So it's, you're better off this way around. That's poor in a diary.
Yeah,
There's certain expectations.
You don't expect to buy an abridged diary, do you? The publishers have done it for you.
Maybe the winter. I wouldn't mind losing a week or so,
I like the over-judicious edit of the diary.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Frank still uses an old diary. He loves nothing better than using an old diary for a notebook.
Indeed.
You had a Let's 2007 for some years.
Yeah, but what's great, I still use that. What's great about it, you're scribbling it, you turn a page to continue your scribbling, and it says something like, take the dog out. It says, it's got a little note from 2007 to remind me. I love that. That's my only real connection with the past now as I've got older.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We've got this news just in from one of our readers, Suzanne Hutchinson, long-time listener.
Hutch, I call her.
Having to finally give in and add Frank and Alan to my odd celebrity crush list. Just lovely.
That's fine.
That's actually happened this morning.
Yeah.
That moment she's gone, that's it. I've had enough.
I think it was the Kung Fu fighting theme.
Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if my loneliest man in the world helped much. Maybe she thought she's in with the shout.
Yeah, could do the company.
I think it gives you a quite erotic melancholia.
I'm worried about how many dead people are on my celebrity crush list. They're all people like who played like sexy women in Flash Gordon.
Sci-fi. But that's much nicer for Kath. I think there should be a rule in relationships that everyone you fancy should be dead.
I sometimes feel a bit guilty about fancying the dead. It's slightly disrespectful.
Yeah.
Can I just say, when I'm no longer here, please fancy me.
Okay.
You don't when I'm alive, but, you know.
No, but, you know, I was talking to Daisy about this, our producer, that you get to a stage with people where they're so far into the friends lane that you can't, they can't change lanes.
Yeah.
I know there'll be people listening saying, well, I had this friend for ages and then one night we had a couple of drinks. You know, what happened? But I don't want to hear about it, so don't text us in about that.
No.
I went to a jazz festival this week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You get about,
what should we talk about now?
You get about.
Do you know, I know this because I called Kath and she picked up the phone and I thought, where the hell is she? And the music sounded like it was a 70s shopping mall or something.
Yes, well, that particular... The trouble is with jazz, it's quite... lots of different types, and a great part of it is, I mean, beyond awful.
She said, where are you? She said, we're at a jazz festival. It was an absolute nightmare.
Well, it was that sort of 70... You know, when you used to get, like, jazz, which sort of funky jazz, Mahavishnu orchestra type stuff, and that is pretty bad. I like the sort... this is the kind of jazz that when I hear it, it just makes me feel buoyant. Come on, doesn't that make you happy?
Is that jazz?
Does
Sounds
make
like a
me
Mickey
happy.
Mouse film.
I wish we'd wiped the dust off the needle, but other than that, it made me happy.
It sounds
no
like-
one said that to me since the 80s.
Do you know what that sounds like? Mickey Mouse feat George Formby.
Well, that's really my dream
In
combo.
one of the earliest collaborations that recorded music.
That's Tiger Rag by the Ray Noble Orchestra. But doesn't it just make you feel happy?
Your little face made me happy during it.
Well, there you go. That makes me feel like doing a black bottom. It's a dance. It's a dance. Don't look at me like that. Don't you trust me? If I was Tiger Woods or Tiger Drew Honey, I'm just going to carry on.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So what I was saying with Tiger Rag by the Ray Noble Orchestra, you remember Tiger Rag?
Yeah.
Come on! I want them dancing at home. The people who are listening on FM in Birmingham. Dance! Oh, you've stood on the dog's bowl. If I was, as I was saying, if I was Tiger Woods or Tiger Drew Honey, that would be my car horn sound.
Oh, would it?
Because have you never thought that the car horn manufacturer people have been very, very slow on exploiting the way the ringtone thing has gone through the ceiling. You can commercially sell ringtones, and people make. There's probably ringtone millionaires. But the car horn, there was a time in the 70s. Remember in the 70s there was Le Couture.
Frank's got Crazy Frog, haven't you?
You know Le Couture. You'd occasionally hear that. Or I Wish I Was. And I thought this is the beginning. I thought when I'm an older man, I thought, well, it'll be a variety of things. You'll be able to get all sorts. And it's never happened.
Yeah, they should have your song of choice. I'd have beautiful Christina Aguilera. To calm everyone the hell down.
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here on behalf of the car horn manufacturer people.
Okay.
They seem to have gone with the alerting people of danger noise
it
more
would still
so.
alert people. If a young child stepped out in front of me chasing a ball and I pressed and it went... He'd still know that there was a car coming.
Yeah, that's at your point. Yeah.
But I
don't know why they haven't gone into it.
Is there a legal restraint on what your car horn can be, do you think?
Yeah.
Funny enough, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it has to be a certain volume, for sure.
What volume we can handle?
don't think it can be.
It would be much nicer if you had all sorts of lovely songs playing.
Yeah, imagine that. Watch out, Frank. Watch out, that woman. Then she'd stop, realise she'd made a mistake. During this section, she'd be nodding her acknowledgement. Sorry about that. And I'd be steadily moving away.
I just worry that she might start sashaying if you do.
You haven't said sachet on here for a long time.
Not for a while.
Remember, you were reprimanded by a reader who said he's always saying sachet. Come to think of it, you haven't said it since.
I have.
No.
I'm sure I have.
I don't think you have. I think you said Sade once.
Right.
That's the closest you got. Yes, Emily.
Andrew says, Thomas Dolby is a ringtone millionaire. I think he invented the Nokia ringtone.
Well, that's a classic.
Yeah.
I'd like to be the first car horn millionaire to cash in on this. If anyone knows the legal restraints on car horns, please.
That'll be very interesting radio.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know.
Sure will.
And it's my show.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, Frank, you've lit up the switchboard, if I may say. You've lit up the switchboard. We've had quite a few car horn texts.
Yeah.
Right.
Phil from Preston. Hi, Frank and team. Not wanting to take Alan's role as car expert. I prefer motoring correspondent, but
Yes.
potato. The MOT rules say it must be one tone. Long-time reader, Phil from Preston.
Oh, so, how did that ever get through?
I guess those guys must have been operating outside of the law.
You are. I mean, there was lots
That's
of them.
what I'm saying.
I'm not on about one or two.
Well, there were many rule
Really?
breakers back then, but people have smarted
I
out
think
their
they've got that wrong.
Oh.
Well, 984 has texted, I tried to get the Dukes of Hazzard horn put on my mate's van while he was on... I tried to get the Dukes of Hazzard horn put on my mate's van whilst he was on honeymoon.
How did that go?
But the guy,
That was
in
it?
the, guy in the shop said it was illegal. I don't know why.
Oh.
And that's it. He
I'm a
just
bit
leaves
worried
us with
about that because the whole stars and bars thing has been a bit marred
Yeah.
with, it's all a bit dodgy. Whereas La Cuchareca is still completely untarnished.
580 has texted, Hi Frank, I think cars before 1970 need to produce just an audible tone. For MOT cars after that have to have the high-low standard horn.
Oh, see, what's happened is that rules, red tape, bureaucracy has quashed the individuality of drivers.
Well,
Absolutely
Paul's
ruined
got a lovely
everything.
sentiment out. This is 393, who says, Frank has hit upon the solutions to road rage. Who could get angry if you get cut up by someone who cuts you up, but whose horn plays the Pink Panther as they pass
I
by?
absolutely agree with
That
that.
would
The
be a
world will be
happier
a much
place.
happier place. Peace out, Paul. Peace and love, peace and love.
That is absolutely true, though. If somebody
Yes.
sort of cut in front of you and you... Actually, that might confuse some... Oh! By now, he's laughing. Surely he's laughing by now.
As I think I've said before, I hate that because it just makes me think of watching a box set with you and it making me cry.
Anyway, we should fight for the
I love
fight
it.
for the right.
I love it, Frank. It's one of your best ideas ever.
I mean, what if you drive a classic car and you got the old that's two-tone. That's well.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
I'll tell you what we haven't talked about this morning.
Lots of stuff.
Well, there's been some huge footballing news.
Well, that's true.
Gary is gonna get his pants out.
Oh, that, yes.
Yes.
Match of the day.
Well, we
First-
should say why.
Yeah. Congratulations, we should say, to Leicester City.
Congratulations.
No, we don't say stuff like that.
I think we should.
What do you mean? What, a representative of Leicester City will hear this and think, oh, that's nice. That's like when people say, and I'm dedicating this to, and you think, well, what will that do for them? Nothing.
It was 5,000 to 1.
Oh,
That would have been
how
a
many
nice
times
bet.
have we heard
It
those
would
odds
have been
this
a
week?
nice bet. Yeah, apparently it
Indeed.
was.
5,000
Did you
to
read
one,
it? That they had
5,000
the
to one.
same odds for Elvis being found.
Did they?
I've got it. I got 2,000 to 1 bet on Bernard Matthews.
Have you?
Yeah, he's out there somewhere.
And so, Gary Lineker had said earlier in the season that if Leicester won, because this seemed somewhat unlikely at the time, am I right? And so he
Outlandish theory at the
said
time.
that he would present Match of the Day in his pants, should this
Yeah.
happen.
Yes.
And now he has to.
There is an out clause there, of course, because presumably, I'm guessing.
You'll probably
at
get that
least-
stitched up, I should think, the out clause.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing that every week he presents Match of the Day in his pants. I could be wrong. It could be Richard Madeley.
Well, I must tell him this, because I have spoken to
point.
him about Pantsgate.
Oh, have you?
Have you?
But we'll get on to that in a minute.
Well, if West Bromwich Albion win the Premier League, I'm happy to appear on Question Time in a pair of open clegg clonkers, as a mate of mine used to call them. I'll go split crotch. I'm saying that much on Question
Well,
Time.
Frank,
I
I'd
think
like
that'd
you to
take away
advise
from some of the
Gary.
policy discussion on
I don't
Question
think it
Time.
depends what they're discussing. Ageism.
I'm going to get you along for a night out with Gary, where I'd like you to advise him as pants advisor.
Well, it's too late now. It's tonight, isn't he? Has to wear them.
No,
He's
I
not
think it's
doing
the
it tonight.
first one of next season.
Oh, do
why?
you? Do you think it is?
Oh,
Shall
what?
I tell you when it is? Because I've spoken to Gary.
Well,
Okay.
Sorry, I haven't spoken to Gary.
I thought that was in the articles about it. That's what I'd read.
There's articles.
There's definitely articles about it.
Would you like to know?
Yes, what does Gary say about it?
Okay.
I'm going over now to Emily Dean.
I'm with Gary
in
here.
Leicester.
No, I have spoken to Gary about it.
Oh, yes.
Gary said his exact words were, well, I suppose I'll have to now, won't I?
Well, he will, but I
Yes,
think
but-
surely he should do it tonight on Match of the Day.
I don't know whether I should confirm this, but oh, what the hell? He will be doing it, but it won't be tonight. It will be the start of next season.
That's just gym
Isn't that what
time,
I
isn't
said?
it?
He doesn't need gym time.
That is Jim.
Well, that's totally gym time. Otherwise, he'd be on there tonight. I mean, it'll be
Yeah.
gone. He'll be doing it, and they'll have lost their first game 4-0 at home, and the whole thing will.
You've worn
That makes
pants in public
What's the
before.
matter with? He's done 36 crisp adverts. Surely his humiliation threshold is high.
Don't say that.
Well, I'm sure he'd be the first to admit it. I don't think he'd list them amongst his best work.
Yeah, although, Frank, you've appeared in your pants publicly. How
I
did you
have.
find it? And did it come back to haunt
Well,
you?
I found it
Clarify what
eventually.
it is.
I used a magnification device.
Do you think you'll look similar to Gary?
Tweezers.
No, I think Gary's obviously he's a former professional athlete. I look.
I thought you looked lovely in those Y fronts.
No, but I was. When I first did that dancing in my pants, try YouTube. Someone said to me, "Do you work out?"
Did they?
And I look like Gandhi. I don't mean the model. I mean the Indian statesman.
Not David.
No, Mahatma Gandhiji. Let's call him that. I did. I looked like
Gandhi.
Yeah, I mean, I looked. So scrawny and awful. And that's part of the. But I'm in comedy, you see, not sport.
No.
It's fine, isn't it? It's
I
fine
thought you
in
looked
comedy.
lovely, and also,
No.
but I do think you came to be defined by the pants moment for
I
a while.
did a bit.
And I just think you need to give Gary advice about this.
Frank Skinner his pants, that sort of thing.
I had lunch at Crystal Palace before a game, and a very sort of stately African lady came over to me and said, "I loved it when you danced in your pants."
Russian, was she?
Yes, she was also.
Are you
Did I
sure
not
she was
mention
referring to that clip or that unfortunate night out?
Oh yeah, I'd forgot about that. Me and her went to a blues. I'd forgotten all about it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Gary Lineker
GL.
in his pants,
pants.
and
I think in
I just think that's really poor, leaving it till next season.
the
Well, don't
initial
have a
thing
go
he
at
says,
him, come
I'll
on."
present Match of the Day in my undies, which I think is an abbreviation of underwear, so I think he'd be perfectly within his rights to wear...
Singlet.
I think he could do like the Victorian strongman thing, you know, like a
Oh,
sort
I
of
hope he doesn't do that.
pants
Why
and
not
the
just
vest
go on tonight,
combined.
wear your pants, take the banter, and that's the end of it.
Wear your pants and take the bants.
Yeah, exactly.
As they say, nowhere on earth.
Well, my only worry
it's
is...
a big deal. The Prime Minister has been discussing it.
Oh, that annoyed me.
Keith Vaz, who's something of a friend of the show, we brought him up before a few times. He was the one that asked, wasn't he? He posed the question. He had his Leicester scarf on.
Oh, God, yes, he did.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I did. Ugh.
He asked if he should keep his promise.
I'll be all right in a minute. I'm all right. It's come down my nose a bit, but it's all right. I just hope if Gary, when he finally gets round and stops drawing it out and gets onto his pants...
finally gets round.
Stop defending him. He might be your mate. He's also a public figure, so he has to take the rough with the smooth.
Oh, well, I'll sit here and be horrible about him then.
I'm not being horrible about
Okay.
him. I'm saying I hope he doesn't do that thing that footballers do when they stand, of pulling your waistband forward with your thumbs and then peering downwards. That they do before matches.
Yeah, but they won't just do the shorts, will they? It's got to be it's got to be at least a boxer brief.
I know, but I hope he doesn't do that. It's one of the great temptations of elastication.
I don't think a boxer brief. I don't think boxers are a good idea if you're going to host the
you did
television.
3 minutes.
No, boxers are all right, aren't they?
No, I think...
Do you think it's got to be why, France?
There's a danger of fallout with a boxer.
No, God, won't. What?
There is.
Well, I asked him what he was
arguments
most
on the
worried
show.
about, and I can't repeat it.
Oh.
No, I did see him. He said a funny thing about it.
Frank,
Oh, really?
did you did it for 3 minutes or so?
I know. I did it in a play though. I did a 6-month run when I had to be semi-naked with my behind, my behind completely
Did you have the
exposed,
tortoise?
and with completely exposed and with a hint of gapage. And I'll tell you, I've never told anyone this before, I don't think, but it was called Cooking with Elvis, the play. So there was a moment of physicality with one of the female characters. This is on stage.
Yes.
And I have to sort of take my trousers down and lean forward with my bottom facing the crowd.
Yeah.
And I started to, after about a month or so in, I had a reaction to the stuff that the stage gear was washed in.
Uh-oh.
And started to get quite a lot of irritation and reddening in the... How can I describe this? In the cleft.
In the bumbleary.
In the cleft. And every time
This is a horrible anecdote.
time I leant over, I thought, how much of this terrible redness is being... I mean, I think I looked from a distance like a Venus flytrap. And that was... So it really does. But I tell you something, when I was doing that show, I have never washed so thoroughly in my life.
Yeah, I believe that.
Talk about fine-tooth comb.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I say that we don't
they're busy
people will
dudes.
believe we have our show written. We really don't.
Nobody will believe that. Don't be ridiculous. I would like to try a novelisation of the show one week.
Would you?
Said Frank.
Yeah, exactly. Said Frank with a twinkle.
Said Frank haughtily.
How dare you.
We've had a
Would never be haughty.
We've had a text saying, was Frank wearing Y-fronts when he won Rear of the Year? Love Becky and Gary.
No, when I won Rear of the Year, which I think was...
Frank sat back to regale us with an anecdote.
No, I was just letting it settle. Now that you've drawn my mind to it. I was asked to wear long johns with a Pretty Polly insignia on one of the buttocks.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I don't really want to advertise that. And so they raced around and they got, although it was the Pretty Polly sponsored Rear of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Pretty Polly? Do they still exist, Pretty Polly tights?
No, I don't think so, darling.
Have they gone? Oh, see, if I'd have worn that, they'd have probably still been going.
They might do, but I haven't worn tights for about 10 years.
Have you
on
not?
account of working in the fashion industry.
Me neither.
Have they gone? Are they completely out of fashion?
Oh, goodness, yeah. You can't wear tights.
What, regardless of denier?
No. No tights.
Not even a hipster tight?
No tights.
Wow.
Bare legs at all times, darling.
No, not in the winter, surely.
In the winter.
All right, the things you girls put yourselves through.
The things we learn on this show.
So anyway, and then, so I did show, I was in long johns, but Carol Smiley, my female counterpart in the winner that year, she just wore a tight leather trouser and said, this is all you're getting.
Did she?
And, She looked great. Respect.
She did, I remember the photo.
Me too.
Oh,
remember
yes.
it well.
So have you two ever had cause to undress professionally?
I don't know the way you lowered your voice. It's slightly
it did get a
creepy.
little bit like that, didn't it? Frank whispered in a husky tone.
I met someone who'd been a professional dancer, and he said, "Yes, I've lifted my legs for money." Beautiful description.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
Alan, when were you naked?
This morning, I bet.
Yeah, showered.
Yeah,
you
but
mean,
publicly, have you done it?
Yes. I mean, I may have told you about this a couple of years ago, guys, but I was in a sitcom called Trying Again,
Yeah.
and got cancelled. No biggie. And
You did mention it.
I had a scene in that where I was in just my boxer shorts.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I
thought
do remember.
I thought
here's
I'd
the
seen
thing,
them all.
Like, it doesn't sound that...
Was that the hotel room
doesn't
scene?
sound that big a deal, but
Yeah.
but there's loads of crew, isn't there? There's loads of crew on a TV thing. So in the end, you are walking past, 15, 20 people in your undies, and they give you a robe. But the thing I don't fully understand is that the scene that we were filming, I was in a bed, so I didn't really need to be in just boxer shorts.
Yeah, but I do hate the way that when you get a scene, like a couple in bed and stuff,
Yeah.
and then, the things, and he's got his pants on, and she's got a long tip. I think nobody sleeps like that when they're young and in love.
Yeah, it wasn't that. But also, I ate very differently back then, so I was eating quite a lot of bread and
I
pasta.
wear a Virgin Opera sleep suit like everyone else does.
Do you?
I like
Yeah.
one of those, Frank.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wish
I-
I hadn't said Virgin and Opera in the same sentence after the previous.
I sleep
Topic, but
in a
there we go.
cryogenic pod in real life,
Do you?
so I don't know what everybody else is like.
I've often thought about one of the things I love about cryogenics. Can I just mention
I
this?
love the start of this.
Yes, if you love something about cryogenics, 8, 12,
Can that be
15.
our texting?
I love the fact
Instead of car horns, we're going to cryogenics.
that everyone thinks when you talk about cryogenics and people being frozen, and so they can be preserved at a later date.
Yes.
But everyone thinks, first thing, Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
one
I know I
person they
do.
know who's been cryogenically preserved.
Oh, Michael Jackson, I thought.
Has he been?
Well, I don't know.
Just picking another.
No,
It's
it had been
interesting.
discussed.
I interviewed
It was-
LaToya Jackson once. Is it LaToya?
Yeah.
And I said to her, she was talking about his trial, which was still ongoing, and I said, well, obviously, if he's guilty, let him burn. And she just nodded. So she was with me on that. Anyway, Walt Disney was not cryogenically preserved.
Oh, was he not?
No, he was cremated. Complete rubbish.
Oh.
But what I love about that, he's cremated. So not only is he not on ice, but he's now the stuff that you put on ice to
Yes.
stop slipping.
Wow.
There couldn't be more wrong about what happened to Walt Disney. Yeah, when I went naked for PETA.
Did you?
Oh, I'd rather
You
go
know.
naked than wear fur.
No, the Arsenal goalie.
Petr Cech.
Petr Cech, yeah. And he gave me a Petr Cech as well for £45.50. How he valued it, I don't know.
I thought you meant he'd given you a once-over, like a check.
You have
like,
to get
Yeah, everything's fine, Frank. Carry on with your life.
decent. That's decent material, to be fair.
What is?
That Petr Cech joke. of
You
yours.
liked it?
Yeah, I liked it.
I'm glad I decided against the black helmet remark.
Yeah. I was until you decided to say it.
No, I decided not
Do you
to say
know,
it.
working in my industry, fashion,
Say it to the left. Turn to the right.
you have to become very comfortable with the naked body because people strip off all the time
What, in
backstage
the
at
office?
shows.
Sounds awful.
No, in the fashion cupboard. We might run in there if you're changing or you're going to an event and there's interns milling in and out, there's men, mainly gay, to be honest, and you just often in bra and knickers, and it's good. It's good. I mean, they don't pass judgment, ever. The gay man might say you look great.
It was the same when I worked in a drop forgings in the West Midlands. We were often in our pants. No one turned them. Well, never mind what they didn't turn. When I did the PETA thing, me and David Baddiel did it together. You know that I'd rather go naked than wear fur.
Mm-hmm.
And Hagrid turned it down, apparently.
Oh, did he?
But we lived together then, Dave and I, but we'd never ever seen each other naked.
Really?
No. And that
Strange,
morning, he was standing in the hallway and I just walked past completely naked and went, "Morning!" and just went past. I just thought I'd get it out the way.
Yeah. And how was it?
Well, he laughed. That was all I was after.
Oh.
Why he laughed, we'll never know. But I remember turning up. There's a lot of people there on the crew, like they'd all turned up to have a look.
A gander.
As soon as I got in, the bloke went, "Pants and socks," because they want the elasticity marks to fade before they do the photo.
That's what the glamour models have to be careful of, isn't it? The pants and socks. Because sometimes if you look at the
Do
picture...
they wear socks?
Well, in the retouching days, you would sometimes see that, the odd
but I love that.
Mark.
I love that bit of reality.
Okay.
And relax.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I was locked outside of the house once naked.
No, how did that happen?
It happened because I was a teenager at the time, and we were playing strip poker.
As a teenager.
No, with girls.
You've lived.
No, it was with girls in a fun way.
No, lovely.
Okay. Did I say lovely? That's kind of a bit horrible.
Okay.
But we were playing it in a sort of funny way.
Yeah.
In a giggly way, not in a sleazy way. But my friends, it turned out, were rather horrible. Because what they did was we all played this, and then they said, "Oh, let's run around the garden." We were at my friend's country house. And they said, "Let's run around the garden for larks." And I said, "Oh, great." And they said, "Oh, you go first."
Oh.
And I ran out and they shut the door. The big oak door slammed shut on me.
I think that's an acceptable prank.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't like it.
Our Terry used to sleepwalk, and he sort of come round. He was naked in his garden,
Yeah.
and he'd shot himself out and stuff. Must happen a lot. There's probably naked people all over Britain.
Probably naked
Alfresco.
people listening to this right now.
I bet there are.
thinking,
I
"I've
bet
got a
there's at
story
least
for them."
one naked person
You reckon?
sitting listening to this show on public transport.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, isn't it? There's
I
bound to
worry
be one.
about it, though. A friend of my mother's met her other half naked. Yeah.
That is
yeah.
a good
They were doing
story.
a self-improvement course, and they all had to strip off as part of it. And
Wow.
then they met and they bonded. Now, what worried me about this was that, firstly, she's got a rather fabulous body. So, but what I would say is that what about if he goes back to the locker and there's bootcut jeans in there and a Matrix
Oh,
coat?
yeah, terrible.
I like to know what people's taste is,
Could've made
clothes.
some
That,
awful
that's.
decisions.
I often judge people by their shoes.
So do I.
I always
Yeah.
have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, how many warm-hearted socialists have I spoken to and then look down and they look like they get their shoes on prescription? But there is also a big plus to meeting someone naked for the
yeah.
first time. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to get one of those "I've made the worst mistake of my life"
No
moments.
surprises.
No. Although maybe surprises. I haven't been surprised since the 90s. So maybe that would be nice, because I'm not on the market anymore. Can I make that clear? I can hear a groan of disappointment going across Great Britain.
Absolute
Absolute
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
907 has texted. I'm assuming that this is a meeting naked story.
Okay.
I met a guy on the beach in Mexico. We met up later for dinner and he was in dungarees. It's not rainbow, I said. He didn't speak English so well, so he just adjusted his straps. Yeah, well, there's a hazard, isn't it?
Well, dungarees are super fashionable now.
They are very in, aren't they? I've been pondering them, I'm not going to lie.
I think you'd look great in them.
Me.
You would look a bit Jeffrey from Rainbow in them,
That
though.
is part of the problem.
But how do
It's my
Mexicans
towering
ever get a
height.
suntan in those hats?
All right, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, he makes me feel fine, blowing down the back roads.
What about Donald Trump's taco? Did you see that?
No.
Oh,
Oh, there's a picture of him eating one to show that he wasn't racist.
Oh,
I
I
thought
thought
you
Donald
meant-
Trump's taco.
I thought you
Goodness
meant
me.
he was lorry driving.
I just heard that. All right,
It's
it's,
a big one.
Yeah.
keeping his driving hours.
So
at
he's
the right...
eating Mexican food, so that makes
Is he?
him...
Yeah. He said, here
Good
I am
lord.
enjoying a lovely taco. I love Hispanics.
He did
He
say
did.
that.
It did. It said that.
He can say anything, Donald Trump.
He
He'll
can.
be all right.
He can. Yeah.
But the
What
weirdest thing was the
stops it?
taco was resting on a picture of his ex-wife in a bikini.
Is that right?
Yes.
Brilliant.
I love a still life.
Yeah.
I have an email from Email Corner here. that I
Do you
thought I
want
might,
a jingle?
I don't know if you've got one.
Well, I've got one somewhere.
Well, don't worry then if you don't want.
Okay, get off.
In the meantime, while you find that jingle, shall I read you a text? which
This will
okay.
do.
Oh, yeah.
But let's read that text anyway.
Yeah.
Andrew says, I've always thought a trip to the swimming baths would make a good second date. Why wait 6 months to be disappointed?
Yeah, that's
Excellent.
very good.
It's not very good.
No, that is.
I
that
don't
is-
like it.
You know,
I'm
it's
sorry,
that
Andrew.
kind of
Frankly,
thinking.
you're lucky if you get us back there. You get what you get.
Oh, no, you're assuming that Andrew is just talking about women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a two-way street.
Same
the
goes for
swimming pool.
men.
Yeah, if
Sometimes it's
I
a three-way
consider
street.
I'm lucky if I
Sometimes
get
there's
you
a-
back there.
Sometimes the
Well,
swimming
that's-
pool's got a
except-
slow, a medium, and a fast lane. It's
I think what Andrew's saying is if two people go swimming early on, they both get a chance to assess.
What he's saying is he wants a relationship based on someone's body.
No, he's
Which I
what
don't
he's,
like.
What he's saying is he
Why
doesn't
don't you
want to
get
waste.
off his back?
What he's saying is he doesn't want to waste 6 months to then see.
All for
So he's
them,
saying
all
he-
for them
even if
to
he
wear
really
6
not-
months.
Yeah,
Wait
yeah.
6
Well, I
months.
don't know what
a life
universe
hack.
you're on, where you'd really like someone and love everything about them, and then decided that you didn't like them when you saw them in trunks. Yes, I said
think-
trunks to you.
It's happened to me many times.
And me.
I mean, as the victim.
Oh.
Really
Well,
gone
that
off
is-
you both. And Suzanne Hutchinson, I'll be talking to you about your crush on them
Are
both.
you one of them women's libbers?
One of them.
Oh dear.
Wow.
There'll be nylon burning in a minute.
Wow.
The old brassiere goes up.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215. Many have.
They
It's
have.
been fruitful. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
I was about to read us an email before we got our contractual commercial obligations
Yes.
and music playing, and here it is. Hello, Dr. Skinner and the Skinettes. You've been promoted there academically somewhat, I think.
I have got 2 honorary doctorates.
Oh, well, there we go then.
From,
I'll take it back.
We're
I'm
from
so proud of
Wolverhampton.
you.
Thank you.
I'll almost overlook the appalling comments about the swimming pool on the second date.
Look, let's clarify this. If you
Yeah.
have a second date at the swimming pool, I mean, I have 2
It means all
problems
you care
with
about
this.
is the body.
I'm essentially frightened of... No, but you are... when you first go out with someone, you are gathering facts of all kinds. Are you not? And so, you know, those little flash frames, somebody said something, like I went out with someone who described Fever Pitch as a novel.
Okay.
And I thought, we can't go out anymore.
Done.
That's an absolutely valid reason.
Yeah. And
Someone not looking as nice as you hope in pants is not.
But I'm I mean, if speaking as someone who looks terrible in swimwear, I'm prepared. You know,
Yeah, Kathy would
ultimately.
still date you.
Well, I don't know about that. Also,
Okay.
I'm uneasy in the swimming pool. I'm scared.
That's not what
You
I've
know,
heard.
I'm the one who suffers. I just think you're assembling facts early on.
And I just like the chaps.
I appreciate your visual creatures primarily. I just feel it's my duty to point this out to you.
No,
Sexist.
I wasn't being sexist. I just like the fact that the
You were
chap
just
was
being
No,
sexist.
Emily was being sexist by saying
You were
we
just
are.
being sexy.
I like the fact that the chap was suggesting a system for life. Anybody that's got a system, I
Okay.
admire, because I haven't got any systems in place. So I'm
Okay.
impressed by him. Anyway, I have this email. Hello, Dr. Skinner and the Skinettes. I've been a fan of the show for a couple of years now, and after listening for a few months, I built a very clear picture of the three of you in my mind's eye.
Oh.
So much so that I've avoided seeing any pictures of Emily and Alan. Doesn't bode well about my television career, does it? But anyway,
Alan is absolutely furious.
obviously.
He's been on many of the leading panel shows.
I'm
and
sure
I
it
think
will.
assumed
I'm sure it won't get any worse.
Everyone immediately knew what he looked like.
Obviously, Dr. Skinner is a household name. Oh, God, it's getting worse. And
Well,
everybody
but then again,
knows his
so
face.
is Domestos.
Yeah,
He is something of a national treasure.
Everybody
his
knows
face.
my face.
They continue, Nathan. My image of Emily is one
Oh,
of...
hang on, I'm just getting ready for this bit.
Yep, strap in.
Just, okay.
My image of Emily is one of a quietly attractive,
Yeah.
impeccably presented lady.
So
Whilst-
this is another argument for the swimwear on the second date.
Yes.
Why?
Now, how do you interpret quietly attractive?
I'm not quietly attractive. Oh, what, you think that sounds like I'm unattractive?
No, well, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't
it
mind
sounds
that.
to me like you're a
Darling,
bit,
at my age,
you know.
I'll take anything I can get. I'll take striking.
Yeah.
You know.
Striking is good.
Okay.
Um,
I'm
is,
happy with quietly attractive.
is it like quietly confident?
Because that's no longer my currency.
I'm
That's
just
a good
worrying.
point.
It's not my currency anymore. It's not your currency once you're over 25 being attractive.
I'm having an image of attraction.
Yes.
I look down now at my graphic equalisers on this
Yes.
desk. That it's like a volume switch.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
if you're number 10, you're
Yes.
say Julie Covington circa 1970. Attractive.
Don't know that reference.
Yeah, but Frank,
But I
I'm
imagine
happy-
everybody that's
I'm
listening
happy
to
to
Absolute
be
on
a
a Saturday
two.
morning will.
I'm happy to be a 2 because I'm absolutely hilarious. So it's fine.
Good shout.
I'm-
Do you
Good shout.
understand?
Oh, I see, you're definitely more
That
than a
makes
2.
me a... Yeah. I'm
Shall
happy to be a 2.
we work out what scores we are? Let's
Yeah.
not.
Let's not.
Okay.
I'm very happy to be a 2.
He never. I mean, he might not mean it like that. He might mean quietly attractive, as in delicately understated.
I'm really
Yes.
happy to be quietly attractive. Thank
So
you.
Emily is one of a quietly attractive, impeccably presented
Thank
lady.
you. I'm very happy with impeccably presented.
Whilst Alan,
I think it's suggesting you.
A little bit bookish, which I like.
You know when a cat sits in a
Yes.
patch of sunlight on a
Yeah, I
carpet,
love
and it
that.
does that thing with its eyes when they slowly open and close. It's
I love that.
that kind of confidence.
Happy with
Cat
that.
confidence, I call it.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Whilst Alan is an understated, cool mod type, even though he's often self-deprecating.
Oh, I thought that was Ministry of Defence.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's
Okay.
just a typo.
He's secretive enough.
Yeah, he is.
What, to be MOD?
Deep as the ocean, as my dad used to say.
I don't think I'm secretive or deep, but we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Should I take the plunge and Google the team? Also, have you ever been in a similar situation and been surprised, good or bad, when you actually saw what they looked like?
Yeah, on the swimming pool.
Avoiding praise, so keep doing the show as I listen to it, and you are paid to do it the way you do it. P.S. I had to be very careful sending this message via the website, not to see a pic. That's a good point.
Wow.
Well, well done, Nathan.
I'm quite
Thank you.
pleased about that. I mean, the
Also,
mod thing is correct.
Can I say he's judging me by my photos, and he
Yes.
hasn't seen the upgrade on my teeth
No.
in recent times.
No.
So
It's
I'm
been
even
widening.
better than he thinks.
I'd say that's taken you up to a 2.2 on the graphic equaliser.
Maybe
Made a
I'll
glaring
get,
omission.
If I get Absolute to Photoshop my teeth on the website up to their current standard.
Yeah. Yes.
I think you are the cool mod type. There's no
I
question
don't
about
think
it.
so. I mean, I've got a few Fred Perrys and John Smedleys, but I'm definitely not a mod.
I
like
don't know what a
the-
John Smedley is. Have I missed
Oh,
out
you'd
on
like that,
The
Frank.
mods have got too many rules, and I'm just not a rules kind
No,
of guy.
but this is what he
guys.
means by a cool mod type. You know, you're not going to arrive in a pair of. You're not going to have a Parker.
You're not a
freestyle
Liam
Parker
Gallagher.
with
I haven't got
target.
loafers. I
But
don't
what you
own a pair
are
of loafers.
is, I'd say you're a quiet mod.
Yes.
If I can use that phrase again.
quietly modish.
Quietly
Oh, okay.
modish,
Well,
yeah.
I'll take that. I mean,
It's lovely. When I was a kid, I used to have this. I used to listen to Radio 1 all the time, and
Yes.
it was Johnny Walker and all those people. And I knew what very few of them looked like. I knew the ones that did Top of the Pops, obviously, what they looked like. But a lot of them, I had no idea. And when it's always disappointing. I get it now with podcasts.
Oh.
If you see someone from a podcast,
Yeah.
you think, oh my glory.
Oh, my glory!
oh my glory!
Yeah,
We've gone back to the swimming pool chat.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's what they don't have at Absolute. When you go into the BBC, they've got those postcards
Oh yeah.
with pictures of the DJs on, like
Yeah.
pulling those faces that people only ever pull in photos.
Yes.
When historians find photos of people from the early 21st century, they think they constantly had their eyes open as wide as they could and their mouth But we should have some of those little postcards, absolutely, with our
Oh, can
lovely
we do
faces
that,
on.
Daisy?
That sounds fun.
They won't have the money here,
Well,
dear.
she just... I asked her and she just gave me a dirty look.
We waited 2 years for carpet.
Absolute
Absolute.
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We heard from the outside world, Al, didn't we?
We have. It's a text message from 443, football manager, obviously.
Oh, very good, Al.
I like it.
I think a swimming
Because you
pool.
can't actually have a 4-4-3.
No, I know, but I know where he was coming from.
Okay.
I think a swimming pool date is a good idea. I'm
Got
not.
a toothpick out, Frank.
I have. I've just had some almonds and I find they linger
Oh,
around.
they
it.
do.
Where did you get
They
the toothpick
definitely
from,
do.
then?
It's in my pocket.
Really? Do you always keep one in there?
You know what Chrissy Hines said? Got toothpick in pocket.
You know, I've never known you used to keep toothpicks in there. Okay, sorry, as you were.
I think a swimming pool date is a good idea. Swimming against the tide somewhat's there. I think a swimming
Right.
pool date is a good idea. I'm not a great swimmer and would want a partner who could save my life in an emergency.
Oh, okay.
That
well,
is
your
the sort
reasons
of
are
logic.
solid. I like them.
Yeah, and then if that date goes
That's fair
well, you
enough.
could have like a barbecuing party for the third date. See
Yes,
if they can
and that's
start a
another
fire.
lovely reason to pick a partner.
Another date
As a
could
sort of
be
AA
like
service.
rudimentary mechanical.
I'd like to go out with an A&E triage.
Exactly. You
So
could.
if I drop at any moment, which, you know, it could always happen, she's there, or he.
Andrew
Let's
has
see how
now
it
said,
goes.
can you stop referring to me as the swimming pool chap? My name is Andrew. Emily, fancy a date? Thank you, Andrew.
Oi, ho.
But unfortunately, you're going to make me go to the swimming pool. And I'm afraid I refuse to do that. But thank you very much for the offer. Deck Dockery. Pretty much every week, I can relate to at least one thing Frank has to say, which leads me to think I'm officially middle-aged.
It's become a bit Dennis Norden. You know you're middle-aged when you start listening to the... You're right, Dennis. Dennis, someone get a minute! Is he dead, Dennis? I think he is.
8, 12, 15.
Our thoughts with his family.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
All right, yeah,
Baby!
baby!
I'm going to read a text, baby, from 456.
Oh, can you two not call each other baby? It makes me a little bit illy. Thank you.
I'll read this because I don't think Emily would. She's too bashful. As a middle-aged male, I love the show, even though Frank's a baggy, and having seen the pics, and Emily is at least a 9. So he says
Get
Emily's a
in.
9. She wouldn't have read that because it's, she's bashful about such things. So there you go.
Looks like the old graphic equaliser's going up a little bit, Frank, from the 2 that you gave me.
Oh, he might be German.
Okay.
And,
Thanks for that, 456.
and from that, I try not to be too much of a professional grumpy pants. You know, I
Do
don't
you?
want to be the show
Try
grump.
harder.
I don't want to be the show grump. But one of my
You're both
bugbears...
grumpy as each other.
One of my bugbears has happened this week. This May the 4th day, when people celebrate Star Wars. Oh, Star Wars Day. May the 4th, it's Star Wars Day. That's in the news this week. Have you seen that?
I like a pun, though. I'm glad that the whole celebration is based on a pun.
When you say you like a pun, the other day at your house you made a pun, and you were so happy. Whilst the rest of us continued talking, you just sat there laughing to yourself and punching your own knee in excitement.
Punching.
I think when a man is at his own hearth site, he can behave as he wishes.
I'm not,
Yeah.
There's no judgment from
You
me.
can
I'm
pun
just
away to your
illustrating how
heart's
much you like the pun.
content.
I do love a
And
pun.
I love you
And
for
May
it.
the 4th is a good pun. I know
It
we've
is.
heard it a
You
lot.
think it's a good pun?
The first person who made that pun must have,
Yeah.
respect to Mondo.
Yeah. For those people that don't know, it's based on, Star Wars, May the Force be with you.
Those
And
people,
it's May the 4th be with you.
those people would be better off in a home. as,
I wondered,
as George Formby used to say.
is this
all right,
May the
Keith.
4th day? Is it slightly offensive?
He'd be
to-
far better off. Far better off. He'd be far better off in a home. Sorry.
Is this May the 4th day celebration?
Yeah.
Is it slightly offensive to people with a lisp who would say, May the Force be with you?
Well, we've
May
got
the
Chris
4th.
Eubank on the line.
Have we?
discuss
Oh,
this.
good. Go on then. Are you going to do the voice?
Good morning. Chris, we're talking about May the 4th day. Yes, it's I find it very dispiriting. It was a very bad line, Chris. It sounded like you said dispiriting. No, I did say dispiriting. What are you getting at? Chris, you back there. It's a terrible line. Sorry. We'll try and see if we can get him again later.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna say I don't like it.
Okay.
But I'll tell you who got into it. The Obamas. The Obamas had the...
I heard the Obama. Sorry, Chris, I meant to turn you down. Did you mention the Obama? Yeah, I'll come back to you. He's persistent in the extreme.
Isn't he? Persistent, he calls it.
He does. Yes, the Obamas.
They got into it. They had a little dance with stormtroopers.
Oh, the Obamas.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I worry.
I'm starting to
this.
think if I was a black public figure, I would make it my business not to be cool.
He's definitely...
Write a song.
I think he's definitely on that trajectory,
Do you know
though.
what I
He's
mean,
becoming
though?
less
What, you
cool
think
with every
Barack?
day.
I think
He's so cool.
if I was Barack, I'd say, when's Merlin coming back?
You'd say that whoever you were.
No, but everybody think, he's black president's got to be cool.
Imagine
cool.
if he'd said, I love your Peaky Blinders.
Yes. And the Queen would have said, how dare you? Someone would have had to explain what it meant and all
Frank,
that.
where's Chris?
Pardon?
Where's Chris?
Chris Hume.
We've lost him. We'll try and get him back, but it's very difficult weather conditions.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a text. Hi, guys. With reference to May the 4th, my friend sent me an email on Thursday. Revenge of the 5th.
That's
See what
good.
they've done there?
That is good.
That's from Jane in Wordsley Stourbridge. Stour.
That's Chris Eubank's favourite film.
Wouldn't it be better to send it on the 6th?
Revenge of the 6th.
What you just...
It's more like it, isn't it?
Revenge of the 5th.
Six.
No.
This is the problem with texting a pun
hold
to
on.
a
I
pun,
know
and
who
you
to
can't
ask.
help but copy edit it.
Personally, I would, no, it's all right, we're ill now. I would say that Revenge of the 5th is probably more accurate. I'm leaving now, he's starting to go African. I hate it when he does that. Been out with him before and he does that. Yeah.
Where were we, Frank?
We were in the White House with
Oh,
Michelle
yeah.
Obama and
Fantastic.
Barack.
So they did that thing... Well, they played Uptown Funk.
Mm-hmm.
How does that go?
Oh, you're going to make me sing it?
Uptown Funk! Oh, no, that's that girl.
There's a great line in it.
I did that on
Julio,
purpose.
get the stretch. But I don't expect you to know that.
Is it old?
Said Uptown Funky One. I said Uptown Funky One.
Oh, it's that, is it?
I said
Oh, I know
Uptown
that.
Funky One. I haven't finished. Said Uptown Funky One.
It's all right, I'm happy to talk through you.
Michelle Obama said it's her favourite song.
No, Michelle Obama.
She said, this is my favourite. And then Barack
Favourite?
starts saying, come on, stormtroopers. And then he says to one of the stormtroopers, come on, man. Don't call stormtroopers man.
I just don't say man if you're the president.
Well, I just don't.
Never.
This whole story is a bit. It's a bit Tony Blair and jogging gear. It's whenever a politician does anything ordinary, it's a really amazing thing. People are doing this at home every night, dancing to songs like this.
What, with stormtroopers?
Songs like this.
People dressed in Star Wars outfits.
Yeah, but that
happen to
wasn't
be in
really
their
the
living room.
story, was it? It's the story is, they're just like ordinary people. Guess what?
No, but this is this. I'm afraid tapped
like-
into one of my worst phobias, which is people in costumes dancing. So like football mascots, it makes me feel physically sick. Oh, like Mr. Blobby or something. I cannot bear it. I just feel very vulnerable. There's a man in there, a poorly paid person on equity
spoiler
minimum,
alert.
and he's having to dance, which should be about joy and abandon. And I find it so melancholic and poignant. Thank you.
I think one can be happy inside a mascot costume. I was
I
mascot.
grew up with too many out of work actors.
Well, I was in a mascot costume for Albion Norwich about 3 years ago, and I found it I felt very secure in there.
Did you dance
protected.
to Uptown Funk?
I think I danced to Disco Inferno. But we've all got our favourites.
That's one of
face it.
Russell Grant's favourites.
Is it really?
Yeah, he loves that one.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see Donald Trump dancing to Sex Bomb.
Oh, if Donald Trump gets
Actually,
in,
Sex Bomb is the two first things he's going to do when he gets in.
Absolute Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I drove in this morning and went past a blue plaque on a flat which had got John Lennon and George Harrison on the same plaque. So I don't know if they ever boarded together.
It's a bit like you and David Baddiel.
Very similar.
Is there any blue plaque action for you and David having
I think that's
cohabited?
pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
Not since I've had them whitened.
Whilst we're in our politics corner, I'm calling it, firstly, we'll say hello to the new Big Daddy. There's a new Big Daddy, isn't there, in the chair? And then...
The new London Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, that's only just in London now.
Uh-oh.
If you're listening to this in Birmingham, you think, who cares about that?
Yeah, but they had other votes.
Yeah.
Those orange and yellow ones. I don't know what those papers are. I thought they were receipts in my handbag. If you didn't vote, then you won't get this. Anyway, Zach Goldsmith,
Yes.
he got himself into a few scrapes.
He did.
I'm afraid, during the campaign. For reasons I won't go into, but there was one reason I will go into, which was he shamed himself when he was asked about the Bollywood Festival. Did you see this?
Yeah, he was at, is it the Asian festival he was at? And he said,
yes.
he said he absolutely loved Bollywood movies and Bollywood...
All things Bollywood, I think he
You'll
said.
find his exact words
yeah.
were, I'm a Bollywood fan, so anything with a Bollywood theme, I lap up.
Yeah, okay.
He said, I lap up.
Fair enough.
And the interviewer said, oh, you're a Bollywood fan, so have you a favourite film?
Oh, no.
And he said, and I was so obsessed by this, I can quote exactly what he said. I've made a note of it. He said, well, no, I wouldn't be able to... Let me think. No, I'm not going to give you one.
I can't think of a favourite. You can't think of any, mate. That's what you can't think of. Any.
I could have said... If he'd have said... Baranji Gali, who would have picked him up on that?
Well, what if the
You know what I
interviewer
would
said,
have
hang
said?
on, I went to school with him?
You know what I would have said? Charlie Kelly.
Yeah, Charlie Kelly. What about that song?
But you've helped me, because if I'm ever running for London Mayor and I'm asked that, I'll say that.
Baranji Gali, yeah?
Is that what
Yeah.
you'd have done? Would you honestly have styled it out?
I'd have tried that, and
You
if
would
they'd
have.
have said that we've looked that up, then I'd say, well, I'm not saying my pronunciation is top notch. You know, I mean it for the the spirit, not the letter.
Yeah. You tell
You
him.
can't say I will lap it up.
I just
And
wouldn't
then
have
not
said
know
it.
anything.
I wouldn't have said it. It's not good enough.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
You
Well, if he's
did
lie
remind
about
me.
that, what else
Was
is
it
he going to lie
Rob?
about?
Was it Rob Brydon who said to? Who was the guy who does Sunday brunch?
Oh, Tim Lovejoy.
Yeah, Tim Lovejoy had a Ramones T-shirt on that show.
Yeah.
He said, "What's your favourite Ramones track?" And he just looked like he'd had a seizure.
Yeah, see, I've got such an honesty policy, I would have to admit. Oh, it's just a T-shirt.
I think, but it would have been all right to say that.
Well, I didn't used to, but now I've embarked on the Skinner way, as I call it, which is the truthful path. I find it hard to lie. And as Frank said, it's a harder way to live. You'll have fewer friends.
Well,
That's the path I've chosen.
I'll tell you what, I've certainly approved that.
He's the loneliest man in the world.
You heard it here first.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I don't understand this Zach Goldsmith lying to impress them thing. I've never done that. I've never... I almost go the opposite way of saying that I don't know about stuff when actually I know a little bit about stuff. The only thing that I've ever said that... The only thing that I've ever said that I like that I don't is people. And that's it. Just as a general, like people. But other than that, I can't think of a lie that I've told. I'm too honest. That's my trouble.
I can understand that. I met Daryl Hannah once. Remember her? And
Work with them all.
It was
Yeah.
this-
Yeah, it does that.
all.
during my Terrible Brits night, and she
was
came
she
up,
there that night,
and I
was she?
said, "So, what kind of music do you like, Daryl?" And she went, "Hip hop." In a look which said, "Please, if you ask me one question about hip hop, I will have to hang myself."
What did you do?
So I understood. I thought, you've lied. It's fine.
Very good of you, that.
Yeah,
Very good
but
of
there
you.
was terror in her eyes.
Oh, Frank.
Oh,
It's easier with music, though, I think. I mean, to be honest, I used to lie a lot. Particularly when I was growing up, before I embraced the Skinner way of truth. And I used to lie about, if people said, movies, what movies have you seen? I lied for years that I'd seen the Blues Brothers.
You did that as well?
I did. I said I'd seen the Blues
Why
Brothers.
do we do that?
And I had never seen it. But what I realised is I don't do it anymore, but it was very easy to get away with it because people so love their own opinions.
They
won't
just talk
ask
to you, yeah. And what about
really?
that bit when
Yeah.
you go, oh, yeah.
No, and I'd say, what about that bit? And then they'd finish the sentence. It's fine.
See, my fear would be that I would say, yeah, I've seen that, and they'd say, I'm not sure I understood it, did you? And then I'd have to go, no, didn't.
I used to keep blood pellets in the pocket for that moment. So I'd just blood would start coming out of my mouth. And I'd say, sorry, I'm... Yeah, the only time I lied to try and appear cool was someone asked me if I was cool, and I said yes. Although I suppose, if you're lying to appear cool, if someone asks you if you're cool, you'd say no,
Yeah.
thus making you cool. So that's the conundrum I'm leaving you with, and as a Catholic, I rarely leave people with the conundrum. But, yeah, next, adverts, apparently. Does that mean adverts for next?
Probably.
Well, I look forward to
Is it the
that.
end of
I'd
the
like to
show?
know. I'd like to
Is
know
it the
what
end of the
their
show, Frank?
what their spring summer it's going to be. It is the end of the show.
Oh, we should say goodbye then.
Never say goodbye.
Yeah, say goodbye. Yeah, I'm
my
desperate for a
contribution.
Cocoa Rita. That is the elaborate non-alcoholic cocktail I tend to have after the show, if our regular listeners are interested in my small life. And thank you so much for listening. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.